Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent
and Eric Ozarowski.
And this is where we share real conversations with the 6 Degrees community all about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. Today's guest has a passion that is really felt in every conversation I've had with him, especially when talking about his family and showing up as a dad. He's an incredible writer, so be sure to check out Dan Schneiderman. His posts on LinkedIn are amazing. And his firm is Schneiderman Trial Attorneys, where he is a personal injury attorney.
In this episode with Dan, we talk about balancing business ownership and parenthood. He's got 2 little ones that have evolved more recently, and it's got a little bit more sustainable for him. We talk about the difference between the practice of law and the business of law, and how he believes in the practice, and get into the nitty-gritty of that a little bit. Some of his worldviews and how he sees the future of his industry playing out with technology, AI, and what he believes will happen over the next couple of years. And then we also talk about the mindset shift that he had around success and money, and how he's redefined his relationships to both in this season of his life.
I'm excited for round 2 with Dan whenever that happens. I think we scratched the surface on a couple of topics that he had some strong opinions on, and I wanted to dive in deeper, so that's going to be really fun. And on this episode, you'll just kind of get to hear what that might turn into, so please enjoy Sixcess Stories. Well, we're in here now. This is like a vacuum. It's kind of nice because like when we get in here, it just like everything kind of melts away, which feels really good.
Right on.
We started these with a check-in, so just what happens in the groups. I'm curious for everybody, on a scale of 1 to 5, where's everyone's energy right now?
Me? I can kick it up. I'll kick it up when I'm on there. But I'm like a 3.
3?
Okay.
Like I have 0 energy today.
Yeah?
Yeah, kids had me up early.
Oh, really?
You're up late.
Yeah. Late and early, yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I love that you came in with the flip-flops.
Yeah, I switched them out. I was dealing with random computer issues.
I'm probably a 4. I'm at a 4.
But I'll amp it up.
Yeah.
I'll get amped.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, probably at a 3 too. I mean, Eric and I both had a late night last night. I was with a friend and he was with one of our members, and so
nice.
So yeah, it was like today I was like, oh damn, okay, like
we got to do this.
A Tuesday. A Tuesday.
It was just like a full day on the calendar. So
yeah. Oh yeah, today was a full all of it.
But I'll amp it up. I'll get going.
I mean, or
I can lock in.
Or
don't.
be just be you.
Do it.
Usually I'm an amped up guy, especially socially.
So one of the questions with, you mentioned kids, and we talk about this a lot. So we have this business as our full-time thing. I don't know how anyone is a business owner and has kids at all.
It really blows my mind.
So for you, how do you manage having kids and being a business owner? And right now we're up late last night because of the kids, up early because of the kids, and you got to go be a professional and show up and lead a team and take care of your clients. Like, how the fuck do you do it?
I think it's experience at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because I would say I did not handle having kids, at least in my mind's eye, the optimal way I would have wanted to. It really did impact me because for me, my job was my job. It was my passion. It was where I put a lot of my energies, outside my marriage. That's where it went, right? Yeah. And when you have kids, it's like an immediate recalibration. And for me, I didn't handle the recalibration part in the non-manic way I wish I had. It was more like jump on. It really felt this way, at least initially. And I think it shows on the outside when it's happening that way, is this kind of like I'm jumping off one treadmill just to go jump on another.
Sure.
Get off work, come home, change the diaper, make sure they're fed, make sure you give your spouse who's also working time off. Make sure that everybody's somewhat balanced, address the emotional concerns, quiet down the emotional concerns, try and get a half hour on the TV or something to shut your brain off.
Yeah.
It just became a big treadmill. So everybody at that time, and it's funny because, we have a really great support system, both in terms of friends and family, and everybody's still alive. And, we have my parents locally here, Vicky's parents, my wife, aren't too far away. So, we have a lot of people to bounce stuff off of. For the most part, from those people, it was like, man, you gotta stop being a little bitch. And for like me, I felt that way, and then you get into, the trial work. Because, when we had Cal, our kids are 14 months apart. They're both COVID babies.
Yeah, how old are they now?
5 and 4. He's turning 4 this month.
Yeah.
But Cal was born on May 23rd, and then I went out on a month-long wrongful death jury trial where somebody lost their son 3 days after.
Oh.
And then that started really a circuit of trials and bench trials and arbitrations that went on for about 18 months. I had something like 7 adjudications in different mediums during that period, and it was a hustle. So it wasn't like the soft landing in the professional world that I would have wanted. And I also went through, after this, a rebranding and reestablished my practice as a different type of practice. Or I was with a partnership before, and I left that partnership. But, all of it happening all at once, mixed with being second-time dad at that time, but just kind of like it was one new, huge life change every 6 to 12 months, for a while. So it's like if I could go back in time, I'd handle it differently. But, with the experience, it softens out.
Sure.
It's like, okay, now we're at 5 and 4. What we're dealing with now is like monumentally easier than it was when you first started out having kids and balancing these different things, and really not having a blueprint as to how to balance it. But everybody, the friends would tell you it all works out. We all went through the same thing, et cetera, et cetera. And, as stupid of advice that is, there's a lot of wisdom to it because it really does even out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like people just figure it out because it's happening, and I have to, and I have the kids, and like I gotta figure it out, right?
Yeah.
I gotta make things work, and I gotta do what I gotta do. And we haven't experienced it, but I feel like it's just whatever comes in our path. It's like that's what we have to tackle.
Right. And I think there's something to be said for starting anything out, or where you're building any business, or you're starting any like new life chain or whatever. The little things really bog you down at the beginning, like the little processes and blah, blah, blah. And you do those processes over a period of time, and they start fading away, naturally. And you can kind of focus on more of the important stuff along the way. Mm-hmm. And I think, especially when you're dealing with all these paths at the same time, the kids, the marriage, starting businesses, closing out old businesses, finding new ways to make money as your side hustle, all these different things have their own time commitment that over time, it's like the little things kind of start falling back a little more and it evens out.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to survive it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're still in survival mode?
No.
When did that end?
Probably about 18 to 20 months ago. Our daughter, she's a total firebrand. I don't know if this will ever get published, but she's a total narcissistic sociopath. And
who did she get that from?
She gets that from me for sure. And so there was a period where we were for 2 years with her where it was just night in and night out, a struggle for an hour and a half. That time where you're with each other, you're like healing almost from the day, and you're able to emotionally pour into each other. That was like, we didn't have that for a pretty solid period of time. We'd go on date nights, we make time for it, but it was constantly acute because Danny, our oldest, she was going through these issues where she was like hour and a half, 2 hours before bedtime every night. It was the no. You couldn't get her in a routine, and it just broke up everybody's routine. So we've been out of that, though, for about 18, 20 months now or so. It's funny because I can really count them because it was so crazy. But
so my sister was like, she would just throw these like giant tantrums, like slamming the doors, all this stuff. And she did it until she was like 10. Like it wasn't like all the time, but like she was older when I was old enough to be embarrassed for her when we were out in public.
Yeah.
So I don't know
and
what
she really didn't do it much out in public. She never did it with anybody else. She only did it with mom and dad. So it was but she's out of it. And I think to a degree that's part of the sacrifice of having what I truly believe to be a very intelligent kid.
Yeah.
For her age. She's very, very intelligent. She feels emotions very strongly, which I think are all positives down the road, so you just got to survive it.
Well, what shifted? What changed?
I think just, that's probably a layered question, but it's getting them in a rhythm, getting the kids to understand the logic chain of going to bed or what nighttime is, or when dad has to go to work, it's not because he doesn't want to be with you, it's because we have to work. And I think they gain an understanding of that, and you try and uniformly give them expectations. We got a chart that we go through at the end of every night, and it was like, what did you do today? And she moves the blocks over to the different spaces on the chart. Okay, what have we yet to do? Okay, brush your teeth, brush your hair, blah, 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 blah. And so those are in the not done category. And it's like moving that stuff to the done category, them visually seeing it, kind of developing those logic changes to, okay, what did I do today? What do I still need to do? And then at the end of that is treat or bedtime type of thing.
Sure.
And I think getting that for her was a big step for her, because then it clicked and she knows where the day's going and where it's ending.
She's the younger of the two?
She's the older.
Oh, she's the older.
The youngest is an angel. Like, he's the easiest in the world.
It's because he saw her do that. Like, that was me. I would watch my sisters. I was like, I'm not gonna do a damn thing. I'm just gonna sit here and smile. And I was so shy.
You were like my brother, because my sister and me, my sister was the oldest. We butted heads a lot, but my brother was the guy like passively always looking back, and he still has this trait. We were just talking about it a couple weeks ago, but he kind of just sits back and he just watches the show.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny seeing personalities form out from that age.
Well, it's like the thing about, so I have a niece and two nephews now, and it's crazy. Like, so there's so much of, I'm 37, 30 or whatever years of life, and like there's so many things that I still don't know, but like to watch a tiny human brain just like the things that we take for granted is like, you have to go to work. Like, what is work? Why don't you want to be around?
And they
me?
soak it all up.
Yeah, they're sponges,
really
and it's so interesting. Like, what to think about. Like, we're starting with a blank canvas.
Yeah,
and what gets filled on that canvas, intentionally or unintentionally, and yeah, it's crazy to think about to me. Of just like watch, and you have front row seats as a parent. To like watching this progress.
Yeah. But the sponge thing, because even just when we were back and you were literally teaching Hank about like marketing.
My nephew, my nephew's in Denver, or my sister's in Denver, and we went there for it was my niece's birthday like the week before, and we just happened to be there. So he had this whole little thing where he like set up a shop. So he like put up all these, he kind of created a little like barricade, and then he would be like, Uncle Eric and Christina, I don't have any customers. You gotta come to the shop. And I'd walk up like, all right, what do you got? And then we'd do exchange money or whatever, and he'd tell me the thing. I'm like, this, and he's 5. Yeah, like it's kind of a cool thing. And then 2 minutes later he goes, I don't have any customers. I'm like, all right, like, so how do you get customers? Let's talk about marketing strategy. So then he's like, well, I'm like, well, Hank, what can you do to let people know that you need? He's like, I can make a flyer. Yeah. So he like comes and like makes a flyer and hands out the flyer, and then I'm like, what if the flyer doesn't work? He goes, I'll make a better flyer. Yeah.
Give a free shot of tequila with each order.
Yeah. We didn't get there. We didn't get into promo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really funny, and like they're like it's little sponges, and they're excited to learn because everything is new. It was really fun to just watch the dynamic and like watch him get excited about. Well, and then the cutest part about the whole thing was Eric was actually using real dollars, and so he ended up making $5, and we had planned the whole day to go to ice cream, and he actually wanted to buy the whole family ice cream. He was like, I made money, I want to buy the ice cream. And so it was just like a full day of, this is how the job works, this is how work, and then you go buy the thing that you want to buy with the money. So
It was really cute. Are you enjoying like this age? Obviously, like
loving it.
Yeah,
loving it.
Like 3, 4, 5.
I do. I I'm the dad I'm the one who gives the candy and the treats to the kid, because I always think of that really horrible. It's hilarious, but horrible Dane Cook joke. I always want to make sure that when she hits dictator mode, it's like, okay, Dad was the one who gave me the candy, at least, you know. So
I know the Dane Cook bit.
Yeah,
you
know the bit.
About.
Yeah. Thanks for the candy. You know, that's what I'm going for. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. I'm a big Dane Cook fan.
That's actually amazing.
Wait, okay, so you talked about siblings. Where did you all grow up?
Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah, NorCal kids. My brother's in Reno now. He's an orthopedic surgeon. My sister, she's a Walmart HR director, so they're in Bentonville, out in Arkansas. My parents live down here in San Diego, and Vicky's parents are up in Sacramento.
Okay. Yeah. And you and Vicky met up in Sacramento?
Yeah. She was friends with my younger brother, who's 14 months younger than me. And we met up when I went up there for law school at UC Davis. She was finishing up undergrad and then got her MBA. But yeah, she stuck around for me. So
that's sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then what brought you down? How long have you been in San Diego?
We've been down here for about 9 years. I had a great job up in Sacramento. I was in a really good partnership track type firm, making more money than I thought I would in my 20s. And it was just, I got a couple good verdicts, good results. And I turned to her and said, because she always wanted to go to LA or New York, two places that I'll never move to. But she stuck around for me. And it was like, okay, I got to get this girl out of here. And my dad had open heart surgery. He had the congenital defect in his heart, so he had to get taken care of. Almost died and made it through. They gave him like 10 years to live, and he's still, those stints that they put in are still ticking. He's crushing it.
Wow.
He's golfing every day, loving life. But it was like, okay, this is the right time to change it up. You want to move to San Diego, before I get the real golden handcuffs, and then we're just going to be here forever. But it was like the right time, right place, circumstances. So we just sold our house, moved down here, and started over.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was, so she wanted to go to LA. Why did you settle on San Diego?
It would seem like a good compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd never do LA for a variety of reasons, starting with the Lakers mostly. But I'm a Sacramento Kings fan. I'm a Kings fan, Raiders fan, A's fan originally. Okay. So I'm like bottom of the sports fan genetic gene pool,
Yeah.
Warriors or no?
And I love the Warriors. I got to go to some Game 7 stuff, but I'm a Kings guy.
Yeah, like the beam.
And it's a very painful existence. But it's I didn't want to do LA, and San Diego's a place where I could go surfing, and we could I've always wanted to live in San Diego. After I did a gap year before law school down here. And it was like, okay, we got to get back. And it made sense. My parents were there. We want to start a family. And it was like, okay, we'll still have some grandparents around. And,
yeah.
What did your parents do for work?
My dad's a spine surgeon. My mom was a pediatrician.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we have 3 doctors in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, spine surgeon.
Yeah.
That's intense.
I always say, so my grandpa was a rocket scientist. Right, he was
like an actual.
He was head of NASA. He was one of the big guys over at NASA, not the head of NASA, but one of the big guys. He was the project manager for the Mariner Mars missions.
Okay.
Wow.
So he's like the head guy for the Mariner Mars missions. So I always say, the Schneiderman family is going from rocket scientists to doctors to personal injury attorneys, and it's like we're going downhill pretty quick.
So bar's pretty high at rocket scientists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to live up to that.
Yeah. Well, maybe the kiddos will
they're
back
definitely
in the other
interested.
direction.
Yeah, we're trying to push them into that. So
So this might be. I don't know if this is an offensive question, but
no, please fire away.
I'm like, did the moon landing? Did we go to the moon?
We went to the moon.
Okay.
Anybody who says otherwise is an idiot.
Oh my God, Eric, that is so.
I'm
funny.
not sure. I'm not like I'm not saying like we didn't. I'm just like
100%.
There's so many like question marks around it.
Why are there question marks around it?
Yeah.
It's sketchy.
This could take a curve if we go down that road. But
that's hilarious. I agree with you. I think that anyone who doesn't think that we landed on the moon is just like, for what? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Like the stars don't pop up on the camera. for a reason. The flag moves the way it does because there's a damn wire that's pushing it out so it doesn't wave, but it looks like it waves. It's intentionally engineered that way. What are the other ones?
I literally, I don't even.
We don't have the footage.
We don't have the footage.
There's no, you can't,
okay, we're not going into this. Yeah, I gotta go. I was trying to think of
You'll get hugged.
This is I don't know why I look at, my primary news source is yahoo.com and Instagram comments. So I shouldn't I was trying to head off the arguments that I see in those posts.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, no,
we can debate it another time.
Yeah. It's not fair.
Yeah.
But
Hot take.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we didn't. I want to be very, very clear. I'm not saying we didn't.
Yeah.
But I see both sides, and
we're gonna target one of those sides. We'll lump that into the next one with vaccines and flat Earth.
Oh, it's so funny though, how much people do get heated and invested in any kind of conversation like this. Eric is somebody who likes to poke the bear. He's somebody, and I learned this very early in our relationship. It's I'll have a strong opinion about something, and he just wants to play devil's advocate, and he wants to go down the other lane, and it drives me crazy sometimes. That's why we love him.
Yeah,
because he'll do this.
I love it. Yeah, yeah. You're not a Scientologist, right?
No,
okay.
Not even close. I'm
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah,
that's all.
Very
It's
much.
just, I like to understand. I like to see both perspectives. And
Totally.
if you pick one, I'm like, okay, but why? Let's unpack that and let me just heat. I actually might agree. That's probably the most frustrating thing for Christina is we would get into these, not even arguments, but these these kind of heated conversations, and I actually agree with her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What the fuck are we doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you picking the other side?"
I do think that we're in a simulation and the aliens are real. So, I do think those two things.
I mean, that to me, it's honestly, I'm that checks out.
Yeah.
Well, is part of it's for me is what is real. In today's world in 2026 with AI and all this stuff, I don't know what real is unless I experience it. Unless I am there and I see it and I feel it, and then it's still I'm like maybe. Because of the simulation thing is maybe none of it is right.
Well, I mean, the other day we were in here and we were talking about even just the idea of the fourth dimension and just the things that are literally happening around us right now in this room that we can't even see or feel or hear or touch or whatever. And it's how much of it is actually real?
Yeah, we have limited.
You guys get deep in here.
We have,
yeah.
We have limited senses.
Yeah.
I'll swing back to a more appropriate conversation.
No, I'm cool sticking here.
We can stay here.
I saw a black cat on the way in.
Did you? Are you
What?
superstitious?
No,
Okay.
Are you superstitious?
No, I was thinking Matrix.
Oh,
Yeah.
What did the cat mean?
If you saw the cat twice, it
was deja vu.
It means
Deja vu.
Basically,
Yeah.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Deja vu was a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it showed up as a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deja vu always trips me up.
I had deja vu today, actually.
Why? Why have I been here before?
Yeah.
All right, go. I know you have a question.
So you were talking a little bit about how we got here. Was a little bit around. So your grandpa was in rocket scientist. Doctors are in your family. You ended up in law. How did what made you go to law school? Why did you pick law?
I was always into the trial element of law. When I went to law school, I really didn't care about the big law concept or the big law track or anything. I just wanted to do as much as I could, talking in front of other people, presenting in front of other people, doing moot court, mock trial, working at the DA's office, which I started in undergrad. So I think if you're to ask, why did I get into the law? That's why. It's because I wanted to talk and argue for a living, and in front of people. But, it was also, I was definitely one of those guys in undergrad where it's I know I want to do something. I know I want to get a business going, but I wasn't gifted, at least, with that natural instinct to start something new or go down a path where it's okay, I know exactly the specialized project that I'm going to go and build, and this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. I just wasn't really gifted with that type of foresight, and so it was okay, well, the law seems like a good way to make a living, and I kind of just ended up folding into it naturally. I did the political science thing. I was looking at pre-law stuff when I was at UCSB, and it was pick something. I picked something at 18 and I rolled with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you feel like growing up, even as a kid, were you like the argument side? Like, was that
Definitely
part of
the
your
argument side?
personality?
I think my family would say that, but it was, you know, I always liked writing. I've always been
Okay.
a pretty diligent writer, and my English teacher back in elementary school was Miss Walsh, was the one who really corralled me and got me writing really well, and I kind of fell in love with that. And so I always liked writing stuff over other things, and like math or, you know, sciences or whatever.
Yeah.
It kind of carried after that. You know, I won some Toastmasters stuff like that I was doing when I was in at that stage of life back in elementary school, etc. And, you know, almost got on Ellen.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was, when I say almost got on Ellen, one of my teachers put in an application or something, and then something happened to it. So I can't say I actually almost got on Ellen, but it was a thing for a second. But
Specifically for writing?
well, I wrote this story about the evil squirrels in my neighborhood, right? And I did this contest, and all the other kids were talking about cancer and somebody dying in their family, and it was all these somber things. And I got up and talked about how the squirrels in my neighborhood are a bunch of psychopaths.
That's hilarious.
And so I won this thing, and they all thought it was hilarious, and Ellen loved squirrels, I guess, so they were trying to get me on there.
That's me.
But so I always like talking in front of people. It's kind of funny how it stems from like little events like that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
I still remember it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like
It started out like, you know, some people are scared of their neighbor's lawn darts. Some people are scared at the way your postal guy smiles at you as he goes by. You know, me, I'm scared of the squirrels.
the squirrels
in my neighborhood.
that terrified you.
Wait, that's actually crazy because I also had evil squirrels. I was in 7th and 8th grade, but they were also evil
yeah.
to me on
Oh,
my
yeah.
walk to school every day.
Absolutely. They're
They'll
little,
get you.
They're little
They're
psychopaths.
terrors.
Yeah.
They
They're
are.
terrors.
They threw acorns at me.
They did. That's what the whole story was about.
Oh my! See,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so this is just like squirrel
I
behavior.
didn't have this.
Yeah. I was like jumping a tree to tree, you know, grabbing an acorn, throwing it at me. That was all part of the story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
gotta track it down. It's somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a fun like bedtime story for your kids.
Yeah, right.
At this
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Give them nightmares.
Then
Thanks,
then they
Eric.
start hating squirrels.
Yeah.
Do you still write for fun?
Yeah, I
and-
do all the LinkedIn stuff.
You do. I was going to ask if that was you.
I wrote on there for years, and it's kind of just like my whole thing on LinkedIn and stuff is just be transparent and real.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I go for on there. You know, you just see so much BS and self-inflation. It's kind of like I've just never been that guy that's seeking those types of accolades or fake awards, industry awards, all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? I just want to be Dan. I just want to go and do good work, and when I'm writing about stuff or putting my brand out there or whatever, it's like I want them to think, oh, Dan's a real guy,
Right.
you know.
I feel that. So for
I do
whatever
too.
it's worth, it stands out.
Appreciate it.
It stands out, and obviously getting to know you a little bit more. Like I see is like, oh no, like this is him.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate
I wish
it.
I was a little bit, because I think my natural tendency is to be adversarial to a degree.
Sure.
And it's kind of, that's been carved out to a degree over the years, but it's still there. I don't know if it's a testosterone thing or what it is, you know, I'm getting older, but it's like I used to very much only be the best. I'm into this to be the best. I want to be the Tom Brady of X, Y, and Z. And now I'm like, I want to make some money and take care of my family.
Yeah.
That's all, you know.
Do you feel like that's a newer shift? When did that happen?
Yeah, I think it probably happened 2-3 years ago. Was
Yeah.
more of like the firm, and I'm sure that has something to do with the kids too.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of just maturing generally.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people ever had this sensation, I guess you would say, but I tell people I never really realized how much money was out there, how many dollar bills there are, how many buildings there are, how many people own those buildings,
It's a lot.
planes, whatever it may be. I thought there was kind of like more of a finite ecosystem of money coming up, and then you hit a certain financial benchmark or blah blah blah, and the world starts opening up a little more, and you look around and you're like, shit, all these people have more money than me, all these people have X, Y, and Z. So I've gotten kind of a little bit of a hyper track at one point of doing the keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Sure.
And I think it it beat the hell out of me, you know? So it was like, okay, that's not the right mentality to carry into, you know, your late 30s and 40s. So I kind of had to make a deliberate mindset change along the way. Because kind of that other way of looking at it was just like, oh shit, unless you go and start a scalable, you know, SaaS program or whatever, you're never going to get to be one of those guys, you know,
Right.
that has $1 billion and a $500 million yacht and stuff and all that. And I think for me, there was kind of a little bit of an existential benchmark point in time where I was like, oh shit, okay, being that guy doesn't interest me anymore. In fact, those guys seem like they're more computer or not human than
Sure.
you know, of the type of person I want to be. You know, I just want to be a good dad, good husband, make a good living, and if I could get some accolades on the way, great.
Right.
If not, I'll retire at 50 and be very happy.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. No, I love that. What would you say is the most fulfilling part of? So it sounds like that shift is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Where are you getting fulfillment with that mindset change?
I think it's more, I mean, it sucks that you need so much structure in life, I guess, to just not be like financially successful, but emotionally successful as well. And I don't know, for me, it's just the family.
Yeah.
The family unit is just, that's my core. You know, everything drives that. Everything kind of sprouts out of that. Talking to my wife about, you know, her career and what her plans of the future are. And that stems from the emotional and financial stability of everything in the household, and to my next plan, side hustles, whatever it may be, you know, buying property, selling property, renting out property, all these things. You know, for us, I think our solution across the board is always, you know, we have two smart people heading up our family, my wife and I, and it's like, you know what, we should be working as a team on this rather than us siloed into our own domains. And I think, you know, bridging that gap has been pretty pivotal as well, you know.
And I think you've mentioned this before, but having her be more like supporting the business that you guys are building, doing
jumping in different ways, using her skill sets, which, you know, she's a very operations-minded person. And, you know, I tried starting up a software company a couple of years ago, and it's like, okay, you're successful in the law, you're successful in starting businesses. I've always been able to make money. You know, I was like, oh, there's no reason why I can't go and do this over here. And so I tried, and AI was sprouting up, and I was like, I'm not going to be the guy who didn't try at least to do something in that area, even though it's so foreign to what I do on a day-to-day basis. And it just turned into a big clusterfuck.
This was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, and, you know, a couple $100,000 later, and it's like, oh my God. Well, nobody told me that I could literally go, if I just waited a year, I could go and make this program overnight.
Right.
You know,
Not hire developers,
you
and
know,
go through the process.
exactly, right. But it just, for me, I guess it's just a life lesson where it's, you know, hey, just because you're good in one domain doesn't mean it's immediately pastable into another.
Right.
You know, you got to really and you can't just start it up one day. You got to really put in the foundation and the proper efforts, both for personal education and execution, to actually get something done.
You said that her strong suit is operations.
She's a product manager for a software company.
Okay.
And a medical software company. And it's funny because along the way of that venture, she was like, oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And I did the opposite of everything she told me not to do. And of course, she turned out to be right, which she tends to be.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a mix of arrogance and momentum and all this different stuff that can kind of like get you into some trouble when you're starting up stuff like that you're not familiar with from a professional background standpoint. You know, I don't know how the guys, I mean, you know how, but the guys that drop out of school and start up these gazillion-dollar companies, it's like, well, they have a great idea. They're obviously intellectually very bright and evidently very, you know, obviously so. But then there's this immediate support network with that I think gets glossed over a lot in the storylines, where it's like, okay, this person had this key introduction from their professor at Stanford, or you know, somebody that put them in touch with, what was that show? It's the Uber show that came out over COVID on Netflix. God, I forget the name of it.
Didn't see
And
it.
the lead actor guy. It's great. It's great. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's about how like the founder, Jordan Kellenick, right?
Yeah.
You look at and they told a very good story there. And by the way, Uber is like the evil corporation of corporations. Everybody should delete that app from their phone. We can get into that as well. But Uber, it started with Jordan Kellenick coming into this situation, being a co-founder, but then through these different relationships, which are detailed in that show, he was able to get to that next level through, ultimately good people that got put him around him,
Right.
good professional experts that worked in the domains he was going into.
Did it talk about it being called Magic Cab at all?
I think
Yeah.
I think initially.
Yeah, because originally it was
Like in
called
episode
Magic
1.
Cab, and it was the technology. We weren't ready for it. Like
Yeah.
there was like a 10-year period where like he had the idea. It was called Magic Cab, but the phone couldn't do what it did GPS location wise.
Right.
So it was literally waiting for the tech.
And they're very good at changing laws around as well, which they do systematically since they started.
Yeah.
But it's but you back to kind of like the point was, you look at these guys and you're like, okay, they got this from the professional connection and osmosis from that professional connection, and then the experience followed.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, I left Stanford.
Right. I left Stanford with an idea, and now
an
like,
idea and connections.
There's a big chunk of
Yeah.
it missing. Yeah, I mean, look at Steve Jobs. It's like he gets all the credit for Apple, and there's so many more people that were involved with all of those products. Like,
Totally.
he's the face, but it's very rarely is it just one person that didn't get help from someone along the way, family, friends, professor, whatever. The relationships are the biggest piece.
Yeah.
That people kind of gloss over.
I was reading through that story recently. A book. It's called The Treasure Inside. It's one about these Bitcoin millionaire guys who are also like, he's a genius at marketing, but he made one of these books giving clues and details as to like these 4 treasures he hid around the country. Right.
Like actual treasures.
Actual
It's like a
treasures.
treasure map.
Yeah, basically, it's like a big codex treasure hunt. And I got the book a couple Christmases ago, and my father-in-law was in town, and that day, I said, dude, wake up at 5. We're going to Arizona. I know where one of these treasures is. I decoded this thing in 24 hours. I still think I'm totally right on where it is.
You didn't go? You haven't gone yet?
No, we did. We
Oh.
went the next day at 5 a.m. And then the asshole almost didn't wake me up because my alarm didn't go off. And he was like, oh, well, I was going to just see if you actually woke up. And I was like, no, we're going. And, from the house to get onto the plane took us about 30 minutes. And right when we got on the plane, we left. But, I wrote this. It was based on this poem that's in there. And you decrypt the poem. And I'm pretty sure I found out where it is. And I still know where it is.
But it wasn't there when
No, we went there we did the day trip, jumped on a flight, rented a car, drove out there 2 hours outside of Scottsdale, didn't find shit. And then, so then we...
But you're convinced it's there?
Oh, it's there. It's 100% there. I missed something. So I'm reading the whole book. But in that book...
I'm questioning the moon landing again.
Yeah, right? I'm pretty sure it talks about that in the book too. But it was going through all the Steve Jobs stuff and how they started with it, and Steve Jobs and Wozniak's role in all of it.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty interesting story for sure.
Yeah.
But it gets glossed over a lot.
Yeah, the relationships and the doors that get opened along the way. And
Yeah.
it's never just the one person. Like, it's not, some people are
He was
better.
good at selling, though.
Yeah, well, he had certain superpowers, right?
Yeah.
Like, undoubtedly, there aren't many people that could have turned Apple into what it is.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big part of that, but it's not just him.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the story. That story is universal.
Yeah.
It's very rarely one person. There's
Yeah.
so many connections. There's so many relationships that get looked over,
Mm-hmm.
or opportunities that happen because of the connections or a door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, back to the conspiracy stuff. Did you know, like, all these NASA scientists are disappearing?
I've
Dying and disappearing?
no.
I have not heard
haven't
about this.
Oh, man, you got to go look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes me think of that, too. It's like maybe Steve Jobs didn't go anywhere. I think there's something to that.
Well, back to the aliens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. No, but
My
I'm
biggest-
like, maybe he didn't die. Maybe he
Yeah.
went somewhere. But
Well, there's a whole thing about Kobe when he was in the helicopter crash. Like, he was he had a whole, I'm gonna butcher this, but there was something that he was investing in,
Mhm.
on a project and something like related to the medical world, that it was basically like it would have been a big deal. There's a conspiracy theory that like someone took him out because he was involved in this thing that never actually came out after he died.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff like that.
I'm gonna go look that up.
Yeah, no, it's I'll send you. I went down a rabbit hole on that. One of my kind of favorite conspiracy. I don't even know if this is a conspiracy here, but like what if Men in Black is just real?
Oh yeah.
And it's just like we're living among all of these aliens
hiding in
it's
bodies.
Like what if Men in Black is a true story? It's a documentary that we just go, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What if?
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. I think Steven Spielberg just said that he thinks aliens are already amongst us.
Yeah.
But that's a hell of a way to sell a movie. But
right.
That is.
That's coming. Yeah. Disclosure Day is coming out, right?
Yeah.
In June.
I'm watching that for sure.
Is it 6? I think it's 6/6.
I don't even know what this is. What?
The new Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just add it to the list.
It's gonna be great.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, is this kind of planting the seed to be able to announce? Because like there's been things with the government in the more recent years where it's kind of like, like that's not us. We don't know what that is. And like, I'm like, what? What are we talking? What?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, is it
It's
normal?
like so casual now.
Yeah. Well, is it normalizing some of this? So like, if and when something gets disclosed or whatever announced, or we're like, of course.
Well, part of it's to hide the Epstein files.
Well, yeah.
Well, right.
We're in how many wars right now because of that?
Anything to hide that.
Which is insane. So like I guess for you from a legal standpoint, like, is anyone going to get punished for any of this? The names, like,
oh God, I couldn't even go into that. I have no idea. That's over my pay grade.
Is it?
Dude, I don't think shit's gonna happen.
Right?
But
It doesn't seem like at this point, like everyone's just like, well, yeah, names were in it, and
yeah.
All right.
I think
you got caught.
That might
Shame
be
on you.
Conversation off the record. But I don't know. It's all crazy stuff.
It is, like, all of it is. I had a whole, I was like, did the Diddy thing and then the Epstein stuff, is that all fucking connected?
I think they're all connected.
Right? Like,
oh yeah. I think they're all a bunch of shade balls.
Yeah.
But
what a world.
I just focus on the people who are actually in my life.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I get told as well.
Yeah, I'm like, so many of these big things and the conspiracies and all this stuff. And okay, so yes, there's ways that we can make an impact, and there's voting, and there's things to do. And at the same time, like, I know that the biggest impact I can have is by doing what we're doing for this community and having that be a ripple effect in a positive way. And so I'm just like, there's just so much out there. So I'm like, there's too much, and I don't really want to go down all these little rabbit holes and, like, let's talk about the Epstein. I'm like, it's literally out of my control.
I soak it up too much, and that's probably the next, like, maturity benchmark I have to get over, is because I do let that stuff, like, impact me on a day-to-day basis. And to what you were saying, I think it's gonna be kind of the next step for me to really go, hey, it's what's going on in the micro, not the macro. The macro is just, I guess, up until somebody comes in and starts breaking down my door to get inside, that's from the government. Yeah. I guess I won't worry about it too much, but it's hard not to with some of this stuff.
It's hard to care, like, about everything all the time.
Yeah.
There's something happening everywhere, right? And it's like, I can, that's available.
Yeah.
But it also is just like, if I just focus on.
Well, I just think whatever is happening, I've always followed the doctrine of whatever's happening in my micro space is how you should be viewing the macro space, and not the other way around.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like yesterday that's really sad, not to bring down the mood, but the attack on the mosque yesterday, and then them shutting down all the synagogues and stuff also as a result. And you're like, dude, that's literally right off Claremont down the street from where I live.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, if that's happening in your microspace, then it really starts.
Well, so, I mean, I was talking about this, and this is probably going to sound ignorant, but, like, the only reason so I'm so disconnected from the macro of, like, there's certain things that I'm very rarely on social media at this point besides YouTube, and my YouTube is mostly, like, sports stuff.
Yeah.
So the only reason I found out about that happening was someone say, hey, on the national news, I saw this thing happen in San Diego. Hope you guys are good.
Yeah.
I didn't see it anywhere else. I got a text from someone that doesn't live here, and it didn't. And then obviously it's come up in conversations.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have known otherwise. So, like, the way that news spreads is really interesting to me. I guess is part of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like where you're trying to get to is like I've done it a little bit where I've insulated. I can't worry about all the stuff. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
And I can't handle it.
Yeah.
So there's an ignorance to that. Ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it's important to know what's happening.
Sure.
So like the balance of that is the hard part for me.
Yeah, I struggle with it still. I got to figure it out. Outside, I guess you just got to delete all your social media.
That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2026.
It's been on my, like, I need to do it. I mean, LinkedIn doesn't really get to me because it's just work stuff, but God, Instagram has me in a chokehold.
Yeah.
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 It absolutely does.
It's not healthy.
It's not.
And I hate it. I was never a social media guy, you know. I was like, when I was in law school, I remember talking to one of my professors saying, I'm going to start this business. The whole purpose of it is to delete your Facebook profile and history and all this stuff because, you know, you used to have to do this huge rigmarole to like get your data and information deleted from Facebook. Like originally, like you'd have to go through all these channels. And I was like, oh, I'm going to start this business where people want to get their digital fingerprint off the internet and all this. And of course, people start doing that years later.
I would imagine it's like almost impossible at this point.
Oh yeah,
right? Like I was talking to someone recently about Meta as a company between Instagram and WhatsApp and all the different platforms that they have. It's literally terabytes of data that because with all the cookies on a website, when it's do you accept these cookies, and everyone fucking accepts the cookies. I try not to. I do the reject and only the necessary ones. But like all of that is linked into your Facebook. Yeah. So it's literally like terabytes of data that like to delete my Facebook account and all the data with it is like it's not just like my profile and I have a couple photos and there's so much information that they have on you. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. Well, hopefully they don't do anything too bad with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, were we together yesterday when this conversation was happening? But they were just saying how like all these things that collect so much data, and then I was at a lunch and learn for ITCM, and AI was the topic, and they were talking about the 23andMe and how like that company is bankrupt, and so all of these people like they have DNA of all of these people. And it's like, well, who's going to buy up this company and all this data and all this DNA? And it's like, what do people do with that?
Oh, it's so annoying because I told my wife, I was like, I don't want to do this. I know exactly what I am. I don't want to do this 23andMe. And she's like, no, we got to do it. We got to do it. And she finally just got the kit and had me do it. And I told her I was like, you know, we're giving away our genetic data here and blah blah blah. It didn't matter. I did it. Mine comes back, it's 2 pages, it's 50-50. You know, it's
like the most vanilla.
It's like
nothing interesting.
Oh, you're Ashkenazi Jewish and you're from the British Isles, something like that, you know. And hers was like 7-8 pages. She's African American and Japanese. And then it started showing she was a little Korean, which like it caused some issues, but not really. But you know, that ended up filtering out, I guess, with the bigger data set. But you know, it was like, why did we do this? And I had to actually go on, and there's a link where you can go and opt out of your data being sold as part of whatever that data package, and they gave you some deadline to get your info off. Right. And so I went on there, did the opt out and all that. But hopefully it worked.
Yeah, hopefully it got removed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then again, it's like, okay, so what could somebody do with that?
Oh, they could
clone you.
Okay.
Create a targeted virus.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's a lot I can do with DNA.
Yeah.
And they could walk into your house and while you're not home and grab a hair off a brush and probably get the same thing. So it's
yeah, it's a little different from just handing it to them.
Sure. Yeah, true.
Sure.
Yeah.
It seemed like a really cool, fun idea at the time, you know, when it came out, though. So I get it.
Hopefully somebody takes it and makes something good out of it. But
yeah. Hopefully a good person gets it.
Yeah.
Unlikely
these days, it seems.
That's how I feel about the AI conversation. Eric made me watch this like doomsday video about the future.
It caused me a lot of anxiety.
Really? Is that something that's like?
And I use a lot of tech. I use a lot of AI stuff. You know, we're like, our firm is like, we're a mercenary unit. That's like how we really it's kind of the market. The brand is, we're your trial team, we're mercenary team, and we're able to do that by integrating a lot with technology and really taking some of the lower level administerial and working capital, heavy working capital stuff out of the situation. You can really trim a lot of fat. But I don't know, are kids going to go to college? Are our kids going to, how do I even prepare them for that world, which is going to be very, unless we get real really quick about our society and how everything should work, it could be an absolute train wreck.
I think it's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be.
If
anything else shows.
my bet is it's gonna be. I don't know when. I don't know what the timeline is, but there is going to be a very dark, rough patch. And I don't know how long the rough patch is.
Well, I think it's gonna be in the next 10 years because I think we're gonna hit a recession at some point here, and by then, I mean, these companies are already showing their methodology for profitability right now is lay off, integrate with AI. And I think, what are we going to do when we've recovered from all previous recessions using like job economic data and stuff like that? It's like, well, short of even the universal, they talk about like the universal income stuff, but it's like, how do you get out of a recession if you're not creating, new jobs and new stuff like that? It's like, okay, if we don't have job availability and don't have a way to creating more job availability coming out of a recession, that could go dark ages pretty quick.
Yeah. And we could see 30, 40, 50% unemployment number, which is never had anything close to that, but that's
with no resource to create new ones, so I think that's what's going to cause it first. But
and it won't be like I've talked about this with other people where it's like it won't just be like snap the fingers and like that's what happens. There's going to be certain industries that adopt faster, they lay off more because there's ways for it to implement. It's going to make more sense in certain industries than others. It's 2026. You actually, like in your world, you might work with people, but like there's people that still use faxes.
Yeah.
Right? It still exists, and there's a lag on some of these things. Yeah. It's not just going to like happen. Yeah. It's going to like impact this industry and this sector and this specific, these roles, and then it'll trickle, and it might be like a complete just come through and just set the wildfire on the field of this industry, but it's not going to just take over tomorrow. Right. It's Christina, we watched that. I don't know if it's doomsdays is like, but the other part of this is like there is only like one outcome. And it's getting artificial general intelligence, and it's going to happen at some point.
Well,
what does that look like?
There's already an arms race for it, right? So like it's happening. Like there's countries that are trying to race against each other. It's the same thing as like what happened with the atom bomb, right? Like I got to build it first. I got to have it first. I have to be the one to do it. And so no one's going to stop. Like it's not going to stop.
Right. The atom bomb is like the one thing. So we've had it for how long at this point? It's like the 50s, 67. I actually don't know the timeline, but we've had it long enough and we haven't blown ourselves up. So the atom bomb is like the one example. I'm like, okay, we built something terrible and we have survived it. And we all agreed this is, and but the thing with AI is like there is no, like once we build it in a way that's like it becomes smarter and there's no way to turn it off.
Sure. Like, yeah, I guess the bomb is something that still needs a human to like press the button, but the AI can start to.
It can press all the buttons.
It can do all the things.
Yeah.
To all the bombs that we've.
No, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah. Movies definitely like to predict a lot of things.
But yeah, I think it's going to create a lot of challenges, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, for you, so with your industry specifically, it sounds like you're implementing it for your company, for your business. But where do you see it impacting like the legal world?
Well, I think we're gonna see less and like right now. There's a lot of competition in the AI space. I would say like maybe even unprecedented compared to other industries. It really is hitting. It's the Wild West. Yeah. In terms of legal tech right now. And I think there's going to be a point of consolidation, and I think there's going to be a change of medium to a degree. Like right now, it's like, okay, I thought I was pretty cutting edge over the years of starting my own business and how I utilize practice management software. I think practice management software is eventually going to get phased out. How long that's going to take, I don't know. But it took the legal industry a long time to even get off of just Word and physical servers and,
Sure.
using the basic Office suite stuff like Adobe, etc. And those we use every day. But more the point I'm trying to make is it took a lot for the last generation of firms, or the generation even before that generation, to start using just basic practice management software. Now, it seems overnight, but just over the course of a couple of years, now there's all these firms that are like, oh, we don't even have the basic practice management software, and now we're getting into the integration of AI space, and it's happening at a very accelerated rate. And I think eventually it's all going to consolidate, and the tech is also going to integrate so tightly with practice management eventually, the AI portion of it, that I think it'll probably make having the practice management software as we know it, which is like a SaaS program, I think it'll be unrecognizable in terms of the next rendition. It'll probably get phased out
Sure.
at some point.
So it'll kind of be like you feel like it'd be a universal, like everyone's using the same
Yeah,
tech at some point, at some level.
that, or it's just going to be a big brain.
Sure.
Hey, here's your brain, your AI brain. You put the basic new case info in there, and then you're just adding in documents and inputs, and it's building its own case management basically as a result, and doing automated tasks that you can sign on for, purchase, or do in different ways. I just think it's going to be a big brain eventually that doesn't require manual maintenance.
Sure.
So that's going to be, I think at that point it's like, okay. And I think we're probably a pretty fair distance away from that. Sure. But I think eventually that's where it's going to go, and hopefully.
And we're far away from that, and at the same time, like that's what agents are doing, right? Like the tech version of what is possible already exists.
Exactly.
Right, but for it to get implemented, and for it to be like trusted, and everyone like really on board with what it is, especially in the legal world, I would imagine it's going to take a little bit.
And I think that's why I focus so much on trial work, and our brand being trial, because I just don't see that level of legal work going anywhere in terms of in-person representation, representation in the courts, etc. I mean, things go at a snail's pace in terms of change through the courts. They're not getting rid of judges anytime soon. They're not getting rid of
see an AI judge coming
bailiffs and all this stuff, and they certainly won't do it in the criminal world. But in the civil world, maybe we'll see some stuff come around the next 5 to 10 years that starts playing with that type of thing. But I don't think there's going to be any replacement for trial attorneys for quite a while. Yeah. So I don't think it impacts us in that way. I think I always separate the personal injury field into two parts. It's the business of law, and then there's the practice of law. I've always been a practice of law guy. I think it's going to affect the business of law to a very large degree in the next 10 years.
To explain the difference between the business and the practice.
I would say a business of law is more of the billboard guys, the marketing, the branding, the having, something that's at least recognizable to private equity that could be acquired type of thing. Systems, processes, personnel, and ultimate result. It's a B2C concept, In the practice of law, it's doing the legal work, maximizing every case, personal attention, not having the primary contact be a case manager or some administrator, but the attorney themselves, is intimately working up every dynamic aspect of the case. And so I think I would categorize that more as the practice of law, and that's traditionally more B2B type pipelines. Right? So I if I were to distinguish the two, I think that's the two. One is quality model, or not, I shouldn't say that, quality versus quantity, because I know a lot of great business of law practices. But, I think it's going to be one of those situations where one is more corporate than the other. And by more corporate, I'm meaning they're going to be integrating at a different level to handle a higher quantity. Right. Versus, the practice of law, I think the focus is always on the quality for each client, where in the quantity model, it's more what is the median or average performance for the firm, and is that median or average on a high level, right? Where it's like one's direct to the client, one's kind of like more aggregate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
So it's kind of like the corporate model versus the non-corporate model.
Sure.
Right? And I've always been a non-corporate guy.
With all of the current technology that exists, and I'm thinking more of just the fact that like literally everything's being recorded all the time at this point. Do you have so much more evidence than like you ever would have imagined for a lot of cases? Because like there's cameras in cars, and there's cameras like there's so much is just being like constantly recorded that it's like, well, I have it right here. Like you hit the car.
Yeah, no. I mean, it depends what type of case you're working on. You know, if you're in a motor vehicle collision with a Tesla and you have, you know, on all these Teslas now, the front camera recording in the event of, you know, immediate braking and stuff like that, and you have that recorded video, obviously that's something we didn't have before. You know, all the dash cams, we didn't have all those dash cams when, you know, I was starting out in the field.
Yeah.
So in that way, definitely there's more evidence and more stuff to go after, but it really hasn't changed all that much in my industry. I think if anything, it's the regulations and the constant improving on safety in different fields. Like trucking cases 10 years ago are very different than trucking cases now, because of the different tech that they have installed on the vehicles, the different regulations and requirements they have for drivers, etc. It's tracked at the government level in a different way than it was 10 years ago. It's tracked a different way in terms of holding these companies accountable for following or not following set industry safety norms, you know, which change over the time.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, you know, in terms of my business, where in the personal injury field and trying cases, in terms of meeting your burden of proof, there's definitely more pieces now than there were 10 years ago that you can go and collect and reach or go way beyond that burden of proof. So it is helpful in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And I can just imagine it keeping to like, it's just going to increase more and more, right? Just with more, because if things are digital, I can even think about like, okay, if there was an Uber driver that was clocked in for work, and they're only supposed to be clocked in for a certain amount of hours, right? Because people get tired, they're human. But then if they also drive for Lyft and then they clock out of, I know people who do that. They'll clock out of one and then clock into the other just so that they can work the system, right? And so, but all of that is being tracked. I can literally track like the rides that someone did and all of that. So like there's just I feel like there's just like, it seems to be like there's so much more evidence for stuff now.
Going back to the trucking cases for a sec, I mean, it's now you have eye tracking. You can combine that with the amount of time they were on the road, the stop starts, when they last slept, etc.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's AI, but they have like tracking now to see when a truck driver is looking down at their cell phone versus looking at the road, you know. Those things are obviously very helpful when I'm going and looking at, you know, hey, how much notice did you guys know that this person was a crappy driver? And they give me 5 videos of him looking at his cell phone leading up to the incident or whatever. You know, the biggest thing, it came around, I think, right when I was starting as an attorney, but is like the historical photos on Google Maps and stuff like that to see how long conditions have been there. When did the conditions get there? Because before it used to be just like, you know, hey, there's this giant pothole in the road and somebody fell into it and got injured or whatever it is. And you're like, well, how long was it there? You know, we have to show some level of actual or constructive notice for that entity. You know, how do you do that without these historical photos? I imagine it was probably pretty tough before. But now you have all these platforms where people can submit requests for sidewalk changes, and it's all stored on the public record somewhere. And, you know, you can go on Google Maps and see, hey, it wasn't there 4 years before, then it suddenly got there 2 years before. And it really helps with those burden requirements and notice requirements.
That's interesting.
But
to go back to the practice of law, I'm curious of what's the most fulfilling case that you've had, most thing you're most proud of?
That's a great question. God, I wish there's been a lot of different times in my career where it's popped up where I'm like, okay, I want to do my best for this person and work really hard for this person and achieve a great result. And it really has worked out in a very beneficial way for them in a number of different capacities. So I've had a lot of those stories over my career. Yeah. When I know clients are referring me based on past performance, new cases. And I always tell, my staff, hey, we took on this, $50,000 case or whatever, right? It has some keep the lights on money, but it's really, I'm a very 80-20 believer, and it's 80% of your income's coming from 20% of your client pool.
Yeah.
But it's like $50,000 case, it's not going to change anything, but you crush it for them, you show them you care, you show them what you're all about. And that's how I've gotten my big 7-8 figure cases is from prior clients referring me on a case that wasn't that much, right? Yeah. Because they saw that you put everything into it. So, I mean, without calling out any of my clients specifically, I've had specific cases where it's like, okay, I got this big case with somebody who had a really tragic, catastrophic incident that's changing their entire lives, right? Severed spinal column or a bunch of compound fractures, like lose a leg or an arm, whatever it may be. And when I go into the hospital to talk to them or go to their house to talk to them, you're already kind of part of the family because of this previous history with the referring party and all that. So, I think that's where I get very grateful and get it's like when I get that type of referral and out of my past performance on something that wasn't really, it was kind of more of a headache than it's worth usually. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, that's why you do that.
Yeah. Feels good to do it, but it's not, the monetary gain isn't necessarily there, but it's you're helping someone out, and I'm sure there's positive there. And then that leads to
what goes around comes around type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. I love that. That feels like a good place to
that was an hour and a half. That just flew by.
Okay, right on. I told you I could talk. Cool.
I just feel like it was such a positive way to end the conversation.
Cool.
So what's a reinforcement that you're sitting with?
So what's the energy coming out? Did it change at all?
I'm still pretty tired, but the energy's great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I think mine went up. I don't know if I'm quite, I'm not at a 5. Maybe I'm like a 3.8.
Yeah.
So it went up by 0.8.
Mine went up a couple notches.
Yeah.
I think it got me going enough to do a little bit more work today. So that's good.
I have some. We have something after this. I'm like, I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was before we started. So thanks so much for
thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. This is always fun for us. Do you think we went to the moon?
Bitch. It's funny because you're so unserious about it, but you will stand firm and you will just keep twisting the knife, and
I really don't know. That one I actually don't. I really don't know.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
Why haven't we been back since? We just did a flyby. We couldn't even land on it. We just did a flyby.
Why?
This year.
What?
Supposedly.
Wait, but was the intention to land on it?
No.
Well, then what the fuck do you care?
We literally have not been back.
Why would we have to go back to a rock that is floating and we've discovered it?
What do you mean? There's so many things that are like, there's literally the depths of the ocean here that we don't know anything about. You think we go to the thing once and we're good. We figured it out. We figured it all out.
We've had plenty of robots on it, videoing it and shit. What if a human being doesn't have to be on it to discover more about it? I don't know, because I don't necessarily have a really big passion for what's out in the sky and in the galaxy, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's one of those things, like, I have no control about what the fuck is going on up there, so I'd rather just focus on what's going on here. Why would we lie about that? What incentive to lie about that?
At the time, it was a race between us and Russia, and
For what reason?
What do you mean?
What did that get anyone? Like, what happens if what would have happened if Russia beat us to the moon?
Maybe America isn't the superpowered technology leading supergiant that it's been the last 60 years.
Oh my God! Just because someone landed
it was
on
such
the moon
a big
first?
Yeah, it was such a big deal. I'm not saying we didn't. There was a lot of incentive and motivation to be the first ones to do it.
What incentive? I don't understand, because nothing happened. We can't claim the moon. We can't control the moon. We can't.
It put us as the leaders of technology.
Do you feel like we're still the leaders of technology?
In some, like, well, so the way that innovation works, like, yeah, in a lot of ways we are. There's Japan and there's certain other places that embrace technology in a different way that's way more advanced. But like in terms of innovation and like what it means to be like, so what the opportunity that America presents itself to innovate, and there's a reason that the drug industry and like all of these healthcare innovations happen in America. The AI, the whole AI conversation, the reason that you could make an argument, I could make an argument that us saying that we landed on the moon first is the reason that we have 3 AI companies and China has 1 that are competing with each other. It was such a big deal.
So you think that if we would have, quote, lost the race to be the first human being to step on the moon, that we don't have the same innovation that we have today?
I think it changes the trajectory of the way America is viewed as a global leader in technology and innovation. Yes. Does it mean that everything doesn't happen the way it still does? No, probably not. I don't know. But it was a really big deal.
I understand it was a really big deal. I just don't know that by losing that specific race to be the first, that ends up having... I mean, okay, so yes to the butterfly effect. So obviously,
sure, we'll never know.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, we'll never know, and yeah.
But the question was, what's the like? Why lie about it? It was a really big deal to be the first country to go to the moon.
Literally, like I hear ego in that so much, of being like, we claim the moon. But like the research and development and the innovation would have still, all of it still existed. It all still existed for Russia. They still had all of that because they were doing it up until the moment that I mean, what? So they never went to the moon after that? Like,
I don't know. I don't know enough about
I guess I just like.
I think it's a similar. The 2026 version is AGI and artificial general intelligence, and it's a race to that. And there's going to be certain people that, like, if they don't win the race, they're just going to stop. They're going to go, well, we didn't win. There's a level of ego for sure. There's pride, there's fame, there's notoriety. Like, there's all these things that's why people want to win the race.
I guess, like, does that actually track though? Because just because we were, I mean, nuclear weapons and nuclear energy, like just because one country figured it out, it didn't stop anyone else from building it and creating nuclear power plants and all this shit. It didn't stop anyone from...
That wasn't like a public race, though. I don't know. My history is a little fuzzy, but I almost feel like we went and invent America, or however the bomb was created, was actually in response to what we thought other people had weapons for. Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know that it was as public and as
probably go
big.
Watch Oppenheimer again.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's funny how that's my solution. It's not even...
Watch the theatrical version.
Go watch that.
It's a good movie.
It was a really good movie. I really appreciated the way that they visually how they showed the bomb going off. I appreciate it a lot. I thought it looked really cool.
I am become death.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that I see people slowing down or stopping innovation in other countries. There's other countries and other people who came up with vaccines. I don't know that I agree that if we would have lost the race to be the first to the moon.
I'm not saying that it would. So that's that's the butterfly effect part. I'm not saying that it would have. It didn't. It drastically changed the trajectory of what the rest of the world thought about America as a leader in innovation and technology. The perception of it. That's why it's like whether it happened or didn't actually doesn't matter, because they won the race and whatever happened from that happened. But it was a bigger deal to win at the time. It's just crazy to me that we haven't been back. And I'm sure maybe there's been robots and stuff. And
I guess, what's your research on... how do you know that we haven't been back?
There has not been a single NASA, what do you call them, expedition?
You've looked this up and you know for a fact.
I am 99% sure that there has not been a specific expedition of either America or anyone on the moon since we went.
I could have swore Dan was like, but we have been back.
Have we?
Huh?
Maybe.
You don't even fucking know, dude. You literally don't even know. Okay, this is crazy. I mean, here's the thing is like, I don't even trust AI anymore to have accurate information because people are manipulating the shit out of this. How many trips of humans to the moon?
It's a Google search.
No, I'm asking AI.
Oh, I thought you just said you don't even trust AI.
I don't trust AI, but
okay.
9 crewed Apollo missions reached the moon between 1968 and 1972. These were Apollo 8, whatever. Of those 6 missions actually landed astronauts on the moon. Dude, are you fucking...
But we haven't done since then, right?
There have been 6 missions of landing astronauts on the moon.
Maybe.
24 astronauts traveled from Earth to the moon. 12 astronauts walked on the moon. Bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, you literally don't even...
Has there been... What I just said was... Has there been a single space flight to the moon since then, where a human has been on the moon since then?
Which Apollo was the one that fucking landed on... Like,
that was the first one.
Apollo what?
I don't know. So what I said was incorrect, where we've been there once. So there's been multiple, but it was the Apollo missions.
This is so... It was Apollo 11. That was the Neil Armstrong. Okay, so Apollo 11. So since then, there's been a 12, a 14, a 15, a 16, and a 17.
What year? What year?
Why the fuck does that matter?
That's the whole argument.
How is that the whole argument? You say that we haven't been back since the first time that we landed on the moon.
Since those Apollo missions.
Oh my God. Most recent.
Human on the moon.
Again, why do we have to keep going back if we've fucking...
You've been to
1972.
Yeah. That's 60 years. It's a long time. We've been to Mexico wine country a couple times, but like because we've been there once, we should never go back.
What the fuck is there to do on the moon, dude? Like, what is there to do for astronauts to go there? Why would they keep like spending time going to the same place if like as a human being, I don't physically have to be there. I can just send some robots to go explore the entire like.
Maybe.
There's probably also an element of danger. Like, what are you... Come on, dude. Okay, so first of all, you have been discredited.
My point is we haven't been there since we went. If we went.
Jesus Christ, dude. And they're planning another trip back to the moon right now, is what this says about NASA.
Well, they just did a trip around the moon. Maybe.
Why would they need to go back?
Why not?
You want to just go spend your days on a rock?
That's all we're doing here.
Yeah, and this rock has a lot of activities. You want them to just like go sip some tea, go take their little charcuterie and some wine and make a picnic on the moon and hang out?
I don't know what I want. I don't really care. I'm just questioning if we actually went or not.
You just can't you can't have the argument of we've never been back be the argument because we've literally been like it I just researched the information. They've been back.
You looked up a thing that may or like that confirms the thing that is the story.
Your argument isn't valid. Your argument is like we've never been back
since 1972. Do you think about think about the technology that we had in 1972 and the technology that we have now, and so like the argument is, so you're saying like why, like what's the point in going back?
Okay, to me the argument of we haven't been back since is like, what kind of an argument is that to discredit the fact that we have been there? It's now
I don't know.
It's crazy because there's actually the number of times, I don't know, the 6 times, whatever the fuck is just said, of how many times that we have been back. So
Since 1972.
What does that matter?
So part of it is, did we even have the fucking technology to be able to do it?
You think that they faked all Apollos, all like 12 of them that fucking got to there?
I'm saying it's possible.
Oh my God. Oh, I get so frustrated talking to you sometimes. It's like the smallest argument that you could, like, point that you could have. That doesn't even make sense. We the multiple.
It's been a while since I've gone down the rabbit hole. There are a bunch of things in this conspiracy theory.
Well, if Dan ends up listening to this, it's gonna drive him fucking crazy. I could tell how much he wanted to. He's like,
oh, we got close.
Well, we got very close to him being like, here's why you're wrong.
And so I mean, like, very, very admittedly, like, I could be completely wrong. I just, like, it's one of those things where there's a bunch of stuff on both sides, and I wasn't even born yet, and in the world that we live in, it's like, I need to experience it for it to really be real.
That is how you are across the board.
Yeah, I'm consistent in this.
You are consistent in this because time and time again, you're like, that place doesn't exist until I've been there, which, okay.
That's literally how I feel about parts of the world.
I know,
general.
that's what I'm saying.
Geographically, like, if I have not been to a country, my brain, it's like, we've talked about the video game version, is like, my character hasn't gone to that part of the map yet, so it's black. Yeah. But
we don't even know that it's real or anything exists beyond what I've seen and where I've been. Yeah. I hear that's consistent. That is a consistent thing. And it's just, I don't know, not weird. It's your own way of looking at the world.
That's how I survive.
Say more about that. What do you mean it's how you survive?
That's how I make sense of some of this stuff. Is that, like, it could be.
Okay. Yeah, yes, and at the same time, like, you have to admit that, like, it is pretty ridiculous to sit here and think, I don't know if the city London exists because I've never been there. And yet
it probably exists.
And
that's probably a good analogy of, like, as ridiculous as it sounds, like, the chances that London exists and that we've been on the moon are probably equally as likely. London more so, but maybe the probability is higher for sure.
Oh my God. But you have to admit that how, like, ridiculous that is, though, to say, because, one, I have physically been to London. You know people who are from there. There's endless amounts of evidence that city is a real city on this planet.
To be very clear, I'm not saying that London does not exist.
No. I know that that's not what you're saying, but you just said that that's how I operate. Like, if I haven't been there, it doesn't exist, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, you just said it's how you survive. I don't know, and I still don't entirely know what that means.
I think it's a way for me to, there's so many things happening in the world, and there's so many places, there's so many people. I think it gets overwhelming, but it's just like, it's easier to not block it out, but compartmentalize.
Sure, I could see how it's almost more leaning into what's happening here right now is it's being here instead of, like, even considering that there's others, places, and there's theirs.
Right. I think I told you the stat of at any given time there's 1 million people on an airplane in the air, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's just 1 million people floating around in the sky. It's fucking crazy. And I took that. I told AI that. And I was like, this is a kind of a crazy stat. Give me a bunch of other ones that are kind of similar. So I didn't research them. But one of them was like, every second there are 200 people born and 100 people die. That's fucking insane.
Sure.
To think about.
Right. Like, people are dropping dead every second.
100 people.
100 people are dropping dead.
200 people born, 100 people dead. Every
second.
Maybe every 10 seconds or something. I think it's every second.
Or, I mean, even if it was every 10 seconds.
But that's an insane...
I just imagine pluribus when everyone just, like, falls to the ground. There's just, like, a whole group of people that just...
they are all one, which is true. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Yeah, these conversations get really frustrating.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry about the frustration part. I can imagine how that would be frustrating. You're welcome.
No, it's not you're welcome.
Yeah. This is why you love me. Top 5.
I like having intellectual conversations with you. I don't always like the...
You don't agree with my worldviews sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, just the devil's advocate, combative nature part that like comes out and wants to, I don't know, play, I guess, and is what I'm imagining for you is like, well, this is fun. Let's play. Let's be the other side and see. I mean, you've said it multiple times. You're like, I'll argue the other side just to argue the other side, even though I agree with you. And it's like, okay, well, sometimes hearing the I agree with you from the jump and knowing like, oh, okay, it's a safe space and we're not actually in disagreement with each other. And then it's, oh yeah, and then we can have the conversation. And then it's more about being curious about the other side of the whatever.
Well, I think the times that I jump to without that part is it, and maybe I need to think about an example, but I would imagine the thing that's coming up is like, it's when you believe something so convincingly and so wholeheartedly that I'm trying to poke holes in like why I was trying to understand like why you believe it so much. Mm-hmm. There's times where it'll be like I have so much conviction about this thing, and it's like I agree, and it's not that I don't agree. It's more of like why you use it so strong. That's probably rather than like combatively picking the other side. I'm trying to understand why you have such a strong belief, or you aren't considering other options, I guess, if that makes sense. It's not always like let's poke the bear and like ruffle Christina's feathers, and it's more of like there's something about the way that you're saying it that there's a lot of belief or conviction behind that I'm trying to get to, and maybe not the most effective way.
Well, I wonder if it would just be more effective if it's naming what you just named. Probably. I'm curious why like this is such a strong feeling for you, or why this is like I'm so hard leaning on one side of this argument, particular topic, whatever, and then go and I wonder about XYZ on the other side or whatever, right? Because then it's like, okay, so it starts with support and it starts with I hear you versus like, well, what about XYZ, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love we have conversations that I think are a lot of fun and I think are really intelligent and curious, and there's a lot of things that I've opened my mind up to because of the conversations that we have. And there's ways still for us to hear each other and communicate more effective. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Communication is such a skill. We can keep getting better at it. That's life.
Such is life. That's
humans being humans.
We're the worst.
Humans are so complicated.
Right. There's layers, like an onion. Put her there, bub.
Put her there, bub.